fibromyalgia. I haven't even gotten into that. But I mean, one of the things we do with the wristbands is we've been treating headaches with it, migraines with it. Medium will start to get migraines from doing readings, and we'll take them and let them sit down and do that. Another thing that we do is we take something called a Mobius sandwich coil.
How do you make those without cutting your fingers off?
Yeah, good question. I use like gloves when I make them.
I would think so.
But you can make them out of aluminum or copper, or probably the best ones would be out of gold sheeting.
Yeah.
But who can afford that, right? But you take 2 strips that you cut, you put a dielectric strip of material between the center, which is like, I use the material like you make an ID card out of, like the laminate plastic. And I'll lay that in the middle, and then you bring them together to form a loop. But before you join them, you do a half turn inwards. And what that does when you connect them then is it creates a figure 8, a collapsed figure 8. Just the act of its existence creates a nullification field for EMF. Like it shields out all EMF. NASA created them 20 years ago to shield sensitive electronic.
Are you talking like an infinity?
It's like an infinity, but it's collapsed.
Okay.
So it's just a ring, and it's called a Mobius coil. But what happens is when anything within like a 3 or 4 inch radius of it is completely shielded from any EMF. So they put these on satellites to shield electronics that are sensitive to solar flares and stuff, so it doesn't burn out the satellite. Well, what it does when you put it on a trigger point, like in fibromyalgia, there's all these trigger points that are tagged as trigger points because they're places in our body where clusters of neural transmitters and receivers are, concentrated together. And what happens is like when we get pain or we feel pain, it's because the neural transmitter fires and sends a signal to the neural receiver, and that's how it travels up the central nervous system to the brain to say, ouch, I hurt. Well, if we nullify that area where the clusters are, the gap doesn't occur, the information doesn't jump the gap, and you don't feel any pain because your nervous system's not telling your brain you hurt. So it actually shuts down the transmission of the pain signals to the brain. And then there's another thing that we're doing now that we're playing around that actually the effects of it last longer, where we take a coil over the trigger point and we stimulate the trigger point with low frequency EMF, like 14 or 15 hertz, and it varies depending on each individual. And it literally shuts down the transmission and fires out all the chemicals that create the transmission. So you get 3 or 4 days of pain relief instead of a few hours or momentary pain relief. So it's pretty cool stuff.
It's just like a half turn, so it's like that.
And always make sure the half turn goes inwards. That's what it looks like when it's metal.
What is that?
If it goes outwards, it's not very beneficial. In fact, it could cause you to have aggravation.
And you can't just fold it.
You
It's
always
got
want
to
it
be
to go inwards.
two different pieces. And then, can't you just use the wax paper in there too if you want to?
It's not a real good insulator.
It's
You
like
want to be
that.
able to insulate the two.
So copper, flat copper like that. With
You can
with
use,
the
I went to
in-between,
Home
the
Depot and
film
bought
in
this
between.
thin copper sheeting like you use for flashing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can use aluminum, which is even cheaper. I've cut up old beer cans to make them and stuff before.
But
So.
again, we're leather gloves. Can you imagine?
And what's really funny is I could get rid of Tracy's headache using aluminum ones, but no, I was using copper ones and got rid of her headache, but she couldn't use copper and get rid of her own headache. She had to use aluminum ones, and that worked for her.
It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird because it had something to do with her own personal energy versus my personal energy. Like if I was treating her, the copper ones worked great for me. But if she was treating herself, the aluminum ones worked best.
Yeah. See, I like
I can't explain that.
this one.
Huh?
You said on a radio show that touching the grounding bolt in the
Yeah.
middle does the same thing. And honestly, this has worked for me for headaches, and also my kids got.
Well, if you get a wristband from Amazon,
I know that you told me like
it's
100 times.
$6.95 and you can relax and watch TV while you're doing it.
JEW, right?
Yeah, I hear you. Bust loose of a little cash.
No, I'm knocking the cobwebs
Like, don't
off.
buy 2 extra pieces of bacon, okay?
But it's good for anxiety and everything. It'll chill you out. Like if you get that
Does.
wristband, it will chill you out, and it's. I don't care if it's a placebo either. I don't care because it
But
works.
it's not. It's not a placebo.
Yeah.
What it's actually doing is taking foreign energy off of your body that may be interfering with your own energy pattern.
It's something honestly.
Do you believe hematite does that?
No, because you're not grounding it to anything.
I don't think it has a natural ground.
It's a floating ground, so it doesn't work.
What about walking barefoot outside?
When I wear mine, it takes care of my backaches and my headaches. If I
That may be,
wear it
but-
around my neck, the whole solid
Talking
thing.
about
of it.
magnetite?
No,
or
just
hematite?
just hematite. And it stays cold to the touch all the
Stones
time.
have their own powers, but you can't confuse them with grounding. Grounding is like returning energy to the earth.
Okay.
If a stone is hanging around your neck, the only way it would be touching the earth is through your body as a conductor, and if you were barefoot standing on the dirt.
That's me 50%
And that is
of
a
the time.
poor ground.
Yeah.
It's a poor ground, but it is a ground. And if you
That's why-
stood in the dirt for an hour or so, you would definitely feel better.
Yeah.
Because it would take that long for the energy to bleed off through that poor ground. But if you go to the electrical ground in your building, that's a solid earth ground.
Yeah.
Somewhere there is a bar driven deep down into the water level that's good solid ground, and your energy just goes right out. I mean, it's immediately. Tracy, the first time she did it, could literally feel it going out of her fingertip. She said it was the weirdest thing she ever felt in her life because she had such a buildup. It almost was like an arcing when she touched it.
But I don't know. I think that because statistically, people who play mediumship, I guess,
Well,
have
that pose
such
Wanda.
such a
Yeah,
huge.
we're treating Wanda.
Yeah. Get Wanda.
Wanda's
Are you
discharging.
Yeah.
pulling out your headache?
I don't have a headache, but I'm sure I got lots of energy stuck on me that needs to
You
take
know
a
what?
hike.
Lick your finger first.
Oh.
No, seriously, it makes a better connection.
Better.
It's ground, it's not electrical.
As long as she doesn't stick it in the outlet, she's fine.
Yeah,
Just
as long as
not
you're not
in the middle.
touching, you can't really stick your finger into where the electricity.
Are you supposed to feel vibration?
You can feel it. That's the energy leaving your body. It's weird, isn't it?
It's a lot of vibration.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can literally feel it leaving your fingertips.
My
That's really
my
weird.
wrist is hurting. Is that normal?
That's
Could
maybe
be.
a nerve.
Could be. Could be neural responses to the energy flow. You have to realize this energy isn't flowing when you're carrying it around. It's just static on you. So when you touch ground, it starts moving.
My whole arm, it's going up my arm. It's like up in here now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
That's cool
Different
stuff.
people
Do you
also
have
have
to do
different.
both sides? Or does it?
JB Geller has all that problem with
If-
fibromyalgia, and I've been trying to get her to do that.
If you do both
To do
sides, it can actually go quicker. Like I've
She has
had
such
Tracy
horrible-
wired up with one on each wrist, and both of them go into ground, and it's taken her like half the time. It would take her half the time.
There we
to
go.
recover.
Oh, that's a good picture. Here, I gotta get that. You hold that pose, girl. That's,
Would that help
you
people
gotta put
with
that on your
insomnia?
face.
Show look like I'm at-
Yeah, do that. Do the funny face.
Insomnia
Do it,
is
do it, do
caused
it.
by excessive energy.
Do it.
I mean, what it does
You're
is
too
it just
funny.
removes the excessive energy from your body. The excessive energy can cause all sorts of
Oh, that's
symptoms.
fabulous.
So all you're doing is you're
That's
curing it
priceless.
by removing the energy.
Yeah, should
Whatever it was
Wanda's
causing
drinking another
will go away.
sleeper.
We gotta get it.
Now we all carry a
That arm
static
feels
charge
like,
just by
it just
moving,
feels,
Yeah.
but it's very low.
what's the
Unless
word?
it's really dry, like
Um,
in winter conditions.
I gotta try it.
Unless
You
you're
lick your
Normally
finger
don't carry
Yeah,
a static
not there. On there.
just on the screw.
Yes.
But what happens when
Not in the
mediums
holes.
Not in
start
the
getting
holes.
information,
you just-
that
you lick your
information
finger
is
My arm is
Half
sore
hour.
up to here now.
You have to hold it for a half hour?
Well, half
Out
hour
their
really
own
chill you right the
biofield
hell.
My arm is
emissions
sore up to
and make
here.
them sick.
You know.
And
Like
then
in
what-
Scotty's
this'll-
case, he was
this'll
literally
take my
hallucinating.
energy out of me.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
It's
seeing
like
weird
ner-
stuff and
it's
mumbling and
it's
not
like
making
nervous and
sense.
anxiety energy.
Literally 5 minutes
I've done
after
it
he was
for
grounded
headache and
out,
it's
he was
worked.
like,
Let me stand
shit,
and get a
he's not ready to
buzz.
get up. I said, just keep laying there.
Brothers, do both like I
He
was.
lay there for 15 minutes. When he got up, he was like,
I got a rush.
I'm going to
I
buy
really
something
did.
Right,
before
if
it
Can I get a rush?
And I gave him one. And he,
Said that I'm sure I've got
every
a
time I
lot
talked to him,
piled
I
up.
said, that damn wrist guard of yours, he says, I use it every
As
time
we're
now,
talking.
every day. I said, yeah. He says, yeah, every time when I finish my readings, I put it on for 15 or 20 minutes, watch TV. He says, I don't have any more troubles like I had before.
Well, the thing is, people even without mediumship abilities, they have such a hard time with nerve pain,
Just-
fibromyalgia.
plus
I
just-
don't think it matters.
See, I haven't done any work with someone who isn't a medium or
Yeah.
an empath or a psychic with it, so I can't say
right.
what it will do for
I
them.
mean, but most
It
people.
will be interesting to see if normal people that don't have any abilities that have fibromyalgia respond to it.
I've been begging Jamie Geller to get one of those wristbands because she has such horrible problems with that. And
You know what causes it in
I should
regular
just
people
buy her one and
is
sell
a
it, send it to her.
Tomatoes.
cluster
alcohol.
of it's a cluster of nerve endings in the hand.
Okay.
It's all caused by too many blood vessels in the hand.
Doesn't
Causes
it
the
go
whole-
through the legs and stuff?
Goes through your whole
But
it
it
can
starts
radiate
here,
through
right?
your whole body. There are 18 trigger
I'm getting
points.
shocked.
Then you need to let go.
There's 18 trigger points on your front and back, and those trigger points are also associated with acupuncture points, which I find kind of interesting because acupuncture is using a very similar principle to stimulate that same area. So those pressure points control, like there's one here that controls the leg, one here that controls this leg, there's one at the base of the spine, there's
That's what
one
you
at
said,
each
yeah.
shoulder, a couple down the spine. And they all control different areas of pain, different hemispheres of pain.
So
So,
like if I were gonna punch you in the throat.
throat punch?
for a
You're
punch?
still there?
I'm still here.
Alrighty.
How, maybe 2-3 minutes I've been on this.
Yeah.
Come on, put the screws
Lift
to
you a
me.
foot off the ground.
Probably would.
Before I died, I would watch that horrified look on your face of going, oh. Remember Cheech the Wizard or whatever, that cartoon? The guy was always getting kicked in the crotch. What magazine was that in? No, it wasn't in Mad Magazine, but it was like a fantasy kind of cartoon.
Calvin and Hobbes. You talking about Calvin?
No. It might have been even Zap Comics. It could have been.
No.
I can't even remember now. But this
Oh,
guy, every
okay.
time he would do something, this wizard would come up and just haul off and kick him in the balls and launch him about a foot off the ground. And he was the end of the
I know what
cartoon
you're
was
talking
always him
about.
holding himself going,
I
"My balls."
remember that.
Was that like an R. Crumb type thing?
Yeah,
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
My parents.
Zap Comics
Is
was
it
great.
like
had
a
this-
Beavis and Butthead kind of thing?
It had this one cartoon that
think-
was called the Checker Demon. He was like my favorite cartoon character.
Related
Yeah, the Checker Demon. He wore these checkered pants. He was always riding a Harley. He was this little squat troll-looking demon, that rode around. He'd hang out in bars, and all the ladies were like trying to sleep with him and stuff. It was pretty cool. But he's always like farting, and he was drinking tree frog beer. And they always had little noises that they drew into the comic frame. Like he would open up a can of tree frog beer and it would go fweesh.